So here it is, the Galaxy Fold 5. Now keep in mind, this is not going to be a full review. This is just us going through the unboxing process. We're going to take a look at the phone itself, how it looks, how it feels. Then we're going to go over some of the features, and I'm going to let you know what I think about it. I also have some other devices that I'm going to be doing unboxings for, but that's for another video. And I'm also going to be putting out a best and worst cases and screen protector video for the Fold 5. So if you're not subscribed, definitely make sure you do so you know when that video comes out. Let's get started. Here we have a Symmetrade ejector tool and our USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable and some paperwork. Here is the phone itself, and that's pretty much it for the box. Looking really nice. Feels pretty light, even though it is a little bit heavier than last year's Fold 4. It's got a nice matte back on it. There you have your 3 cameras and a little LED flash. You got your volume button and the power button with the built-in fingerprint sensor. On the bottom we have our USB Type-C and a speaker. On the top we have 3 microphones and another speaker. On the side here we have our little SIM card tray. Let's fold it up for the first time. And as you can see, it folds totally flat. It definitely feels very solid when you're folding. The funny thing about this hinge is it's harder to close than it is to open, which is pretty interesting because when you're closing up your phone, you kind of want it to stay in pretty much any position that you put it in. But when you open it up, you want it to be much easier. And that's what this Fold 5 accomplishes. I haven't felt that on the Fold 4, so that is pretty cool. It's definitely a lot harder to close than it is to open. It seems like when you're closing it, there's resistance, and when you open it up, there's definitely a lot less. The phone kind of wants to open to about right there, kind of snaps into place, and then there's another little area where it's a little harder, and then it kind of just totally folds open. And as you can see, unlike the Pixel Fold, it folds totally flat. The crease is still there, although when the phone is on, you really can't see that. Not a huge deal. Samsung for this model has also re-engineered the hinge, and that's probably why I can feel a difference between opening and closing the phone. But it does feel very nice in the hand. As you can see, the screen is a fingerprint magnet, but you can pretty much just wipe those away very easily. I really do like the matte glass on the back. Feels really nice. Now, as far as the thickness of this phone compared to an iPhone 13 Pro Max, it's pretty much just a little bit thicker than a single iPhone, maybe 1 1/4 iPhones thick. I would really, really like to see this phone get as thick as one iPhone and still be able to unfold. That would be amazing because this phone is still bulky and it's definitely thicker than a regular phone in your pocket. And there's also the weight as well. Now, having used the Pixel Fold, I definitely like the form factor of the Pixel because it's a little bit shorter, but it's a little bit wider, makes the front screen definitely more usable. And when you open up the phone, you still have plenty of real estate to use as a small tablet. Whereas the Samsung kind of opted for a much taller, thinner front screen that's maybe not as usable. Me personally, I would really like to see a foldable that's about as big as a regular phone but still can unfold into a little tablet just like this. So let's turn the phone on for the first time. The sides of the Fold are also kind of squared off and glossy, pretty much just like the Fold 4 last year. It does feel really nice in the hand though, and it feels pretty premium. Now, when you're setting up your phone, you can copy over information from another Android phone or from an iPhone. I opted to transfer my information from my iPhone, but it's really easy to do from another Galaxy device as well. And I'll show you that process right now. All right, so here as you can see, we're going to copy data from my iPhone or iPad. We're going to be using Smart Switch. So now there's a couple different ways that you can transfer the information. One is through a cable, and then two, you can transfer wirelessly. I'm going to opt to use the cable because I think it's faster. So here we have a USB Type-C to Lightning cable. We're going to plug in the Lightning cable into my iPhone, and then plug in the USB Type-C into the Galaxy device. So you just need to trust the Galaxy device on your iPhone, and then we'll click Next. So before we can start this process, make sure that the Galaxy device is charged up to at least 80%. All right, so we're charged up to 81%, so now we'll plug this in again into our iPhone. All right, so here as we can see on the Fold 5, you can actually select which you want to copy over from your other phone. Once you've selected everything you want to transfer, we can go ahead and click Transfer. Now it's going to do its best to match up the applications from your iPhone from the Google Play Store. As you can see, here's a list of all the apps that we have available. Once you've chosen all the apps you want to install, you can just click Install. So now that we've gone through the setup process, the phone is going to complete installing all the applications that were from the iPhone. As you can see here, we are transferring and we're at 0.9%.
6 hours later.
Okay, so we're all done transferring the applications from my iPhone. Now there are a couple things that I do want to let you know. One, once you do a full installation of all your apps and your home screen, even coming from an iPhone, it will totally try to set up your home screen the way that you had it on your iPhone, which is awesome because I have a ton of apps. Number two is if you don't use the cable to transfer all the information from your iPhone and you do it wirelessly, it's very limited on what it can transfer. It can only transfer videos, images, and contacts. So using the cable is going to be slower, but you're going to be able to install and copy more information than you would wirelessly. So like I said, the phone is done being set up with all of its applications. And if we open it up, there's our bigger screen. The screen does look really good, feels really nice. Touch seems to be working very well. So now let's take a look at the settings really quick. I'm going to be testing out the facial recognition as well as the fingerprints as well. So if we go into About Phone, the battery information, again, it is 4,400 milliamp hours, which was the same as the Fold 4. Now there's only a few differences between the Fold 5 and the Fold 4. The Fold 5 obviously has a newer chip, so it's probably going to be a little snappier. And the hinge of the phone is also upgraded as well. But pretty much everything else about the phone is about the same. Would I recommend on that switching from the Fold 4 to the 5? Probably not, unless you just want the latest tech. So here, as you can see, our storage, we have 512 gigabytes, and we also have 12 gigabytes of memory. It also has that 120 hertz motion smoothness, which makes the screen look absolutely amazing. There's no lag whatsoever. Of course, you're not going to be able to see the smoothness very much on this video because the video's in 4K at 24 frames per second. So now let's put in our fingerprints and see how well the fingerprint sensor works. The fingerprint sensor does seem to be having some trouble. It might be because my fingerprints are a little dry here, but I've never had this much trouble with a fingerprint sensor before. All right, fingerprints are inputted. Now let's test them out. That worked fine. That worked as well. Fingerprint sensor seems to be working really well. Now let's put in our face recognition. All right, let's test it out. Seems to be working just fine. Now there is a setting for you to go directly to the home screen if you don't want to worry about swiping up. All you need to do is go into your settings, go into security and privacy. We're going to go into our biometrics, facial recognition. Then all you need to do is uncheck stay on lock screen until swipe. We'll test this out again and it should go right to the home screen. And there you go. So facial recognition seems to be working pretty good on the inner camera. Now let's test the outer camera. That works just as well. And the fingerprint sensor working fine as well. So I like that. No matter if you have your phone open or closed, facial recognition works with both cameras. And make sure you set up your fingerprints with the screen open and closed, because you're probably going to be holding the phone different both ways. So now we're going to add our fingerprints with the phone closed. Open your phone to continue adding fingerprint. Why? So that's really weird. I went to register my fingerprint right from the home screen because I'm going to be holding the phone just like this when I pull the phone out of my pocket, and I'm going to want to access the home screen with my other finger right here. So why wouldn't I be able to just input the fingerprint while the phone is closed? That's really weird. I'm not sure if that's a bug, if it's a feature, but right now this is how the phone works. So we're going to have to keep our phone open and use our other finger to access the fingerprint sensor. All right, so that's done. Now we can close our phone and we'll see if we can use the fingerprint sensor. So the fingerprint sensor does seem to be working with the phone closed. It's just kind of weird that you can't input your fingerprints while the phone is closed. Very odd. Now, if you noticed, I had to press in the power button to get the phone to register my fingerprint, but there's a setting where you can just simply rest your finger on the sensor and it will do the same thing. All you need to do is go into your settings, go into security and privacy, biometrics, fingerprints, and then click on fingerprint always on, and you can decide when you want to use that feature, whether it just be the cover, the main screen, or both. I just have the cover because most likely you're going to use your fingerprint in this orientation and then open the phone up, but you can always change that. So I'll turn the phone off. Now I won't press in the power button, I'll just rest my finger on the button, and as you can see, the phone turns on. So as you can see, just like the Fold 4, the screen is pretty usable. It's just all kind of stretched out on this long screen. It's not horrible. You can use it if you want to, but majority of the time, if you're going to be using the phone for any extended periods, you're most likely going to want to just open it up and use the main screen. Now, as you can see, as we're looking at the screen face on, you really can't see that fold unless you turn to the side and you can see the glare. Other than that, it works really well. It's nice and smooth. Touch works perfectly fine. As far as the camera goes, the rear camera looks absolutely amazing. Now, one of the things I absolutely love about the folds and the flips is the fact that you can use your main cover to take better selfies. And all you need to do is check that little thing there. It says cover screen preview on, and you can flip it around and you can see that you can use the main camera on the back and still see what you're taking pictures of, which is really cool. And the rear sensor can do up to 50 megapixels. And for the camera, as you can see, we have up to a 30 times zoom. When it's in the 50 megapixel zone, we can only do up to a 6 times zoom. But that looks pretty crazy. It's so clear. Let's take a look at our video. As you can see, you can do up to 8K at 30 frames per second. You have a whole bunch of different options here: HD, Full HD, 30 and 60, Ultra, High Definition, 30 and 60, and 8K at 30. And as far as the under display camera goes, it's still kind of foggy and grainy. It's definitely not the best for taking video and pictures, but if you really need to while the phone is open, it's there. And the front camera is capable of doing Full HD at 60 frames per second. Now, I also have the new Fold S Pen as well as the old Fold S Pen, and as you can see, the difference is very clear. It's a lot shorter and it's also a lot thinner. But it also does have the same button on there that you can press. It just might be a little harder because it is a lot smaller. Which one would you rather have? I kind of like a more substantial pen because it's easier to hold in my hand, whereas the new one It's very, very small, and there's not a lot to grab onto, but it takes up a lot less space, but you're still going to only be able to put it inside of a case and not the actual fold itself. So here we're going to do a little screen write. It does write nice and smooth. It's not really hard to hold. It's just, there's just not a lot to hold, especially if you have big hands. But it seems to work perfectly fine. Glides really nice across the screen. And I will be showcasing this with the case itself in another video, so make sure you subscribe for that. So now let's test out the speakers, see how well those work. Here is the screen up to full brightness. It looks absolutely amazing. And as you can see, I did just put out my Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra unboxing and comparison video, so we'll take a look at that. So I got all my Galaxy devices a couple days before they're actually supposed to come out, and I'm super excited to share this unboxing with you guys. But this is an S8 Ultra. We're going to see if there's any physical differences, and we're also going to see if the... So that is pretty loud. It looks really good. Touch gestures work perfectly fine. And as far as the quality goes, let's see what we can get up to. We can do up to 2160p. I think the phone probably looks better in this orientation where you can kind of fold up the top of the screen and maybe get like a dual application going, just like you saw me do in the YouTube app, which is pretty cool. Speakers seem to be working really well, and they are, again, very loud. The Fold 5 also has wireless charging capabilities. And if you happen to have a 25-watt wall charger, you can take advantage of the super fast charging speeds. And the Fold 5 also has that wireless power share option too. You just need to turn it on. You can go into your quick settings here. As you can see, the wireless power share, we'll turn that on. You'll flip your phone over, and then you can put your buds or a phone on the back and it'll start to charge. So that's pretty much it for the unboxing and my first impressions of the Fold 5. I didn't want this video to go too long, but there's so much to talk about. I really do like the new hinge. It feels really nice when you open up the phone, and when you close it, I like that resistance and ease of opening. The phone does feel really premium, and it looks really nice. I definitely think Samsung did a really nice job on the Fold 5, as well as making it fold totally flat, even though there's not that many differences between the 5 and the 4. So if you don't already have a Fold, I would definitely tell you to get the Fold 5, but if you're upgrading from the Fold 4 to the 5, you might want to wait till next year's model. Again, I will be doing a best and worst cases and screen protector video for the Fold 5, so if you guys want to check that out, make sure you subscribe so you know when that video comes out. If you guys enjoyed this video, it would definitely help out the channel if you gave me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.